What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MakeTheMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic. And it's the 50th anniversary of Jaws. So what did I do? I watched Jaws 3, or Jaws 3D? Nah, 3D doesn't work on me anyway, even if it was. Yeah, so click like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and join me as we talk about Jaws 3. The film you've been dying to talk about. There's not much to say about Jaws 3. I did watch this with audio description. There's a track out there floating in the water, waiting to be consumed in the most inane ways possible. I think when I was talking about Jaws 3 in my Jaws Folie à Deux review, I mentioned that basically all these movies I haven't really seen since a kid. All the Jaws sequels I watched like on cable when I was like, I don't know, 9 or 10 or 8 or whatever. You know, they're all like PG, so whatever. And this one I remember being cheesy even from a kid when you don't really even know what cheesy is. You're just like, this is goofy. And like the older you get, the goofier this movie is. And there's so many scenes with bad dialogue. I had forgotten what this movie was about. So you remember how like in the first Jaws, how Sheriff Brody had kids and then they recast them for the second movie because they recast almost everybody for Jaws 2? Well, they recast them again. So Dennis Quaid plays the older son of the older Brody kid, whose younger kid brother comes to visit him at SeaWorld. Yes, actual SeaWorld. They didn't try to use a different name like Sea Village, like create some sort of weird theme park. No, SeaWorld was happy to let Jaws 3 brand the name and use it for carnage and destruction. It's so weird. So weird. To get the fact that SeaWorld actually was like, yes, yeah, you can use our brand for this. So basically, Quaid and a bunch of other young folk, in addition to like Gossett Jr., who's here around the same time he got the Oscar nomination for, I don't know when they filmed it, but he's also around the same time of his Officer and a Gentleman nomination. So this is like a stark contrast. I'm sure the paycheck was nice, but it's, at least for Dennis Quaid, this is sort of towards the beginning of his acting career, so it just feels like him and like Leah Thompson's here. So it's not so strange. And some people who just never made it out of the 80s. But yeah, this SeaWorld connects to the ocean, and there's something where there are like these gates because they take this boat out and do these like sort of like stunt performers who form a triangle on water skis, or I don't know. Anyway, it gives an opportunity for them to have these gates that open and close when they bring things back in. And while the gates are closing, the shark sneaks in. It like forces its way in. It's like, I'm getting, let me in. Hilarity ensues. Obviously people just make bad decision after bad decision and get picked off one by one. The dialogue here is so hilariously bad. There's a moment where I couldn't tell if his character was serious or not, but Dennis Quaid is having this moment with his girlfriend. They're like walking on a beach. This one has a beach. And he's like, yeah, she's like, did you get the thing? Yeah, in Venezuela. I was like, oh God, he's gonna go to Venezuela and become a gang member and then come back here so he can get deported. That's his future. No, but the inane joke is that she's like, but I've got this thing here what are we gonna do? And he deadpans to her because Dennis Quaid is, I guess, incapable of comedy in the 80s. Uh, Give up your life and follow me. Like, throw away, throw away your hopes and dreams and follow me. That's okay. And like, she doesn't even like find that to be like snarkily funny. They just kind of like or move on because he might have been serious. Um, but my favorite part of the movie, there's so many cheesy moments, but my favorite part is that there are these two thieves. They're not important. These are the least important. These are characters who are introduced to die, and you don't really need to know what they're doing, but it does show you these thieves that are breaking in. And so it introduces them. Not really, but I mean, they're like, the thieves are breaking. There's a scene before the scene that I'm about to talk about. And so then they get into the facility and they're about to dive for what they're there to dive for. I don't know. And one of them stops and he goes, remember, the guy in Miami wants $200 for the good stuff. I was like, why are you having this conversation now? Like, this is like watching a bank robbery movie where you're following the bank robbers all the way up until, and then they get in the vault and they go, remember, we're looking for the gold necklace. It's like, does your crew have like a short-term memory disorder? Why are you? I feel like this is something that should have been established as to like why you're going into the vault to begin with before you actually go into the vault, not once you're in the vault. It's such shitty exposition. Um, it is exposition anyway, but it's also unnecessary because these characters don't matter. They both do anyway. It doesn't matter. Uh, but I was like, why is this? Why is this here? Who felt the need? So lots of funny things. I giggled at the beginning. Um, so the first film, I don't know how they got away with it. So the first film, obviously based on a book by Peter Benchley, right? Second book was based on characters created by Peter Benchley in the book Jaws or whatever is how they credited it. So they're still willing to suggest that Jaws 2 is based on Jaws. So Jaws 3 is suggested by. I was like, what does that even mean? Is there a passage in Jaws that we missed about where somebody mused on the idea like, well, what if a shark were to get into SeaWorld? And then they just didn't use it in the movie, and they're like, we'll take that one phrase and we'll make a movie about it. It's so weird. Suggested by instead of based on. Because technically the Brody kids are here, so wouldn't it be based on characters created by? No, it's suggested by. They also let you know that, John Williams actually wrote the music to Jaws 2. He's credited as doing the score for Jaws 2. Here is just some other guy, and then John Williams is credited for Shark Theme by John Williams. So the music is by someone else. The direction is again by somebody who's not Steven Spielberg. And there's no reason you ever need to see this movie unless you just like really shitty movies. This was weird for me to watch because like I viscerally didn't want to watch it while I was watching. What I remembered being really cheesy from when I was like 9, 10 maybe. Honestly, I don't think I've seen it since I hit double digits in age. But I do remember watching it as a kid and being like, oh, that was kind of fun. Stupid, but fun. Even like as a kid, you're just like, I don't know about that. I don't even have fond memories when my brain was like easily moldable and I was already watching just like whatever cartoon was on television at the time. And then somebody's like, do you want to Jaws 3 is on USA? Okay. Well, that was awful. Yeah, no, it's just a straight up bad movie. This is like, I don't know. If Jaws the Revenge is the one that gets all of the hate, I don't know what's happening here because Jaws 3 is Jaws the Revenge really gonna be much worse than this? I haven't I do this one by one. I'm keeping the suspense to myself. I'm scared because this movie is not good. There's nothing about this movie. It's not even that fun. It's not nearly as fun as it could or should be. It's just like a bunch of really fake bad acting dialogue and lines thrown together in very predictable scenes and sequences with awful music. This dude who tried to follow up John Williams, his score is terrible. It's so bad. I don't know, man. No, don't watch Jaws 3. I don't even, stop at 2. I know that there's some sort of like level of appreciation for Jaws 2, which I talked about in my review. I don't know what appreciation there is for this. I will say though that because it's so shitty, it actually rebounds. Sometimes I fail a movie because it has no redeemable qualities to it whatsoever. And then you have the movies that are so bad they start to become good again. So this one doesn't even get an F because it actually was somewhat entertaining to laugh at. I mean, like, what is happening in this? What did you just say? Like, so it's the kind of film to sit down with and make fun of with your friends, like openly. It's the kind of film that you don't watch seriously, but you sit on a couch and everybody just talks out loud during the whole movie. And they're like, "Run, girl, run!" What are you doing? You know, just shout at the TV the whole time. So I don't know, I'll give Jaws 3 a D. It's not a good movie. And I think I knew that. And I think that's why I've never come back to it. Anyway, yeah, just avoid this thing unless you really love getting into these like crappy movies and tearing them apart and viscerally. This one's fun to tear apart. This one is so stupid. This is one of the dumbest sequels. And it should have been better. But it's not. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And remember the guy from Miami, he offers $200 for the good stuff. I'll see you guys on the other side.